you'll see I've created tenants for my finance department, my HR department, and my sales department. The first step here is to create an administrator for each tenant. So I basically got my finance global admin. So, you could imagine a larger scale company where you have finance departments in multiple regions. So, you may have multiple admins associated with your finance department, but we're going to show you how we can start creating roles and tying users to those roles from there. So what I've done is actually created a role, and in this scenario, we're going to utilize the IT admin. So what I'm going to do is show you how I can apply an IT admin to each tenant, and then as I create the user accounts for those admins, how I can limit the scope of their access throughout my environment, and really only give them access to the resources that are required for them on their day-to-day basis. So as it pertains to VM sprawl, one thing we're going to concentrate on here is how we can limit their ability to create machines, or point them in the right direction to create the appropriate size machines or appropriate use machines. So what I'm going to do is go to users here. So I'm going to add a user, and I'm going to create my finance admin, basically. So we'll call him finance admin. And if I had my Active Directory set up, I could import Active Directory users and their roles for this portion. And we'll give him some credentials. And we will finish up that process as well. So you'll see I have a finance global admin and a finance admin here that I've created. So now I'm going to get into creating those user accounts. So I'll say, Chris is going to be our finance admin. So I'll create Chris's credentials. What I want to do is actually go to all users, create user. So now I'll be able to apply this user account to my specific area of need. So Chris, test, and I'm going to check advanced role-based permissions here. So I'll say at the cluster level, let's give Chris the IT admin access. At the host level, let's give Chris IT admin access. And at the storage level, what I've done here is utilized our data stores feature in the Hyper-V Manager. So what we're going to be able to do is utilize a template library that I've created for VM creation, and I'm going to limit the ability for users to access those libraries based on either their region or their department or job function. So a really strong tool that we can use to control things like VM sprawl, not letting people create unnecessary virtual machines or machines that are maybe way too large or even undersized for their functions. So putting these templates in place and providing access to users is how we're going to achieve this. So as this user is going to be our finance admin, I've gone ahead and created some of these data stores here, or template libraries, and you'll see I have finance templates, HR templates, sales templates. So we're creating the IT admin role for finance. We're going to only provide access to the finance templates. And furthermore, to set this up a little more properly, we're only going to give this person access to the finance host here. So when this person logs in, they won't be able to see the HR department. They won't be able to see the sales department. So they'll log in and they'll see finance, which is our DR host here. So I'll tag the DR host as IT admin. So now this user has access to the cluster, which is not really necessary in this example. So we'll move past that. But they have access to the DR host, which is our finance department. They have access to the finance templates, which is how they're going to create VMs, if they need to add employees or do testing or anything along those lines. And then we're going to look for those VMs that are associated with finance or our DR host in this example. So I've tagged those VMs, I've applied IT admin access, And I'll go ahead and finish that process up. And now I could go through this for each department, create users, and grant that access to point out HR, to point out sales, and so forth. But I'm just going to show you real quick. And before I do that, actually, I'm going to pull that back up just to reiterate what our view looks like here. So I'm logged in as a global admin. I can see the entire infrastructure here. It's all available to me. I can come into Hyper-V management. I can utilize all these options from a management perspective.